welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the review for Manchester United against Arsenal. We've just seen the game finish 1-0 to Arsenal, obviously, Alex. You were watching the game. What are your thoughts on what we've just seen there?
Really poor. Arteta's outdone us a bit today. His way of setting up against Man United nullified us completely. Steve made the comments all the way through the game about how I don't think the way we were set up nullified where Arsenal's threats were. Now, they didn't end up scoring through that. It was a ridiculous mistake by Paul Pogba, but at the same time, they created a lot of chances today. Not in terms of shots on target and things like that, but they created chances in, the pull back to Lacazette was one. That one won't be a start of a shot on target, but if it's not for a touch of it to Lindelof, it's almost a tap in for Lacazette. I don't know. People have been crying out for the diamond formation. I think we got a bit giddy maybe after the week against Leipzig, even though I think that it was after we changed things a little bit in Leipzig, we started playing the better football. I don't think it suits us with some of the players we got, especially in the wide areas. I think that it showed today there was nothing out wide in terms of Wan-Bissaka isn't one that's going to go forward. Luke Shaw as well. The forwards ended up going out wide to get the ball, and it just left us lightweight all over the park.
We still don't have anyone to play on the right hand side, do we? We still don't have a right winger.
No.
As soon as Martial's out, we're sort of thin on the ground in terms of strikers as well. Cavani's someone who's slowly coming in, obviously not quite match fit yet.
I'll just jump on. There was a super chat there saying it's the McCullough curse of him going on kick-off.
Yeah, maybe. Ross Murphy's. We'll come to the super chats at the end actually, because otherwise we'll sort of be stopping and starting all the time.
Yeah.
But the what we saw today, I think, is one of the first times where, or not one of the first times, we've seen it before where teams have come with a tactic or a style of play and have set up and have beat us. But it felt today like we didn't have any answers to what they were doing, which felt a bit futile, didn't it? You're watching it, you're thinking the players on the pitch don't have any answers for this. It doesn't seem like Ole has any answers for this.
Yep.
They set up in a way that they basically, what they did is every time we had the ball, they put a man on every one of our men, and we couldn't pass it.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't enough running, there wasn't enough movement in front of it. The amount of times toward the end of the game, they sat back deep. They after they'd scored their goal, and they just went, all right then, break us down.
Yeah.
And we went, we don't know how to. So Lindelof, Maguire passing it back and forth. And to be fair to them, what happens is when they've got the ball there, you're relying on your two centre-backs to be your creative players. And even if they're good ball-playing centre-backs, what do you want them to do? Find balls through like the midfield, through the attack and through the defence to our strikers? We just have people sat in the box waiting for the ball to arrive on their feet.
Yep.
And it didn't happen.
There was a bit towards the end of the game there where RH had a bit of a go and said about Luke Shaw Lindelof kind of tried to go round an Arsenal player, ended up dribbling out of play and having a go at people, and he kind of went, you shouldn't be doing that. And I disagree. I think that the reason Lindelof got put in that position, and it happened all day where we had to go backwards, there's no movement. The midfield, for as much as us having 4 midfielders in there for the entire game, which is what people have been asking for. People have been going, do you know what, this gets all our good players in the system. Maybe it gets Bruno and Pogba in there more often. Yeah. Maybe it puts, we can maybe put Van der Beek in there as well as them. None of them were asking for the ball. Nothing was shown for the ball. I don't think that it set up well for Marcus and Mason. I think we missed. I don't think it suited them at all. I think they kind of either got dragged out wide or got isolated in the middle. I didn't like the system today. And again, there's the title. I saw a couple of people picking up saying, I can't believe you're saying Ollie's under pressure. It's not because of how he set up today. It's one game. We have to do that. The reason he's under pressure is he's lost he's not won at home in the Premier League this season. Yeah. That's why he's under pressure, and there's only so long you can do that for it. Even for as much as I see a project going on, and I see that we need to stick with something going, there's only so long that a board will stick with it if the results aren't right. We are in, I said yesterday in the preview that this was an important game because we needed the 3 points in order to put a lot of pressure on. We've said as well before the game, if you win this game, you win the game in hand, all of a sudden we're 3 points behind the lead.
Yeah.
Now we are. Now there is a bit of a gap, even with that game in hand. We really are got a bit of a gap now to catch up on.
It's amazing as well, isn't it? Today again, as I said, some of this, a lot of this has got to fall on Ollie's feet in terms of he made a mistake today, and he clearly didn't know how to change it to get us out of it. He didn't know what to do, but not not every single time, as Stephen was saying, not every time a manager makes a mistake, that's it, he's done. That's it, he's got to go. It's going to be difficult. And today, I think he was outperformed by Arteta. I think their system matched up against ours and beat us, and we didn't have a way to change it. We're struggling with the fact that we don't have anyone to play on that right hand side. So the width, we couldn't really play with any width, especially when Martial's out, because he plays up through the middle. You have Mason on the right, you have Rashford on the left. But when Martial isn't there, and clearly Cavani isn't fit enough to start these kind of matches, then you have to go, right, okay, well, either one of Mason or Rashford has to play up front, but then who plays on the right and who plays on the left? Well, no one. So we're sort of almost stuck with no width and no way out from the back. It just all got too much for us, didn't it? It just all got put on top of us, and we didn't really know what we were doing. If we could just scroll down on that laptop there, Ronaldo, just to scroll down through the comments, because there's a super chat there.
Yeah, can you just click on that super chat for us, mate?
It's May Amateur saying, Devil's Advocate, do you think there's a reason why we're doing, do you think the reason why we're doing well in the Champions League is because the teams we are playing don't know us? Poor in the Premier League because the managers have figured out who the weakest link is tactically. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's, we're just getting lucky in the Champions League that people don't know who we are.
No.
I don't think we're getting lucky in the Champions League. I don't think it's some, for me, it is a coincidence at this point that we are beating PSG but losing to Arsenal. We're beating Leipzig but losing to Crystal Palace. I think something's going wrong, maybe in the heads of the players, maybe with what the manager's doing. But at the moment, it doesn't really make sense to me, if I'm honest with you.
Do you think it's
I can't make sense of it.
Do you think it's maybe because we're missing Martial? Do you think that's it's as simple as that? I think Steve mentioned today he's not a hold-up player. He's not that kind of player. But I think that there is a little bit of, it's not hold-up, it's just a little bit of quality and a little bit of calmness on the ball that I don't think Rashford quite has. Rashford is an instinct impact kind of player. Whereas I think Martial does take a few more touches. And I think today, it took us a long time just to settle at any point.
Can you moderate the comments, Cam, please?
Yeah. There was no calmness on the ball. There was no way of us retaining the ball. It just seemed to bounce back all the time, and a lot of that was because of how how good Arsenal were. Sadly, they did work well and they pressed us really well, but even towards the end as well, where Cavani come on and we're not putting a cross in. You're like, I can understand not putting the cross in when you've got Mason and Marcus in there, but when you've got Cavani in there, when you've moved Harry Maguire further up the field towards the end, put a cross in.
Yeah, we're just chipping balls up to Rashford and Mason all day. First half, we were saying, so we'll start from the beginning. First half, the ball, there was a couple of tackles from Rob Holding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he stepped over the ball and he blocked off Rashford, and there was a tackle on Bruno as well. And straight away we're going, this is what they're doing. Whenever we get the ball, they're going to try and rough us up. They're going to try and be physical, and that's what they did. And the amount of, it must have been, would you say, maybe 15 balls chipped up that their centre-backs will, maybe more.
Yeah,
balls chipped out of the box. We play it around, get forced back to De Gea. De Gea has to pump it up, and the ball, and they just win the header because we haven't got players who can win headers. It was really poor today. Pogba, let's move on to Paul Pogba. Obviously, he gave the penalty away, but it wasn't just the penalty, was it? He was shocking today.
He was really poor, Paul Pogba, which is, we saw him in the week.
Change camera cam.
We saw him in the week that he looked like he had a bit of sharpness back to him. He looked like a better player again. He looked like the Paul Pogba at the start of the season that, it had gone and he got his fitness back. But today there was the same kind of lethargic look to him. He didn't really get on the ball. And then when he did, he just gave the ball away a lot. And I think again, a lot of it was down to how well Arsenal set up. That man-to-man press that they were doing didn't give us too many options. But at the same time, like, a little bit more quality, a little bit more movement that we just weren't having. We were just slow all the time, and it's really, really poor.
Ross Murphy with a super chat says it needed a one matter on someone that can break down a low block, and Cavani and Van der Beek should have been on when it was 0-0. I do agree that obviously Mata can do things that other players can't do in terms of keeping the ball and playing out, but I don't think he would have touched the ball. No. I think the problem wasn't. One of the problems was creativity, but the other problem is we just couldn't get the ball out because they were sitting one-on-one with our men. There wasn't enough movement, and we just couldn't pass to anyone. No, they just completely stifled us.
I don't think it was a game for one matter. I think that they were very they're a physical team. This new Arsenal are quite a physical team, and they've got a lot of powerful players in there. And I think while Mata would have been probably overdone in there, I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe you can't say what. I think the reason we didn't go 3 at the back, I think Steve said in his preview he wanted to go 3 at the back, and I said I didn't go 3 at the back because I thought we don't have the players to do it. I think with Tellez out, I think it means that we couldn't do that, do those things, and we couldn't play with the 3 at the back, and we had to almost play with what we had. I'm surprised we went for the diamond, especially with, again, Arsenal kind of have, it's not 2 wingers, but they have a wing back, and then they have a Willian and Aubameyang both stay wide, and that's a lot of attacking down both flanks. And also you have like Tierney likes to get forward a little bit more, so they mentioned it as well. There's a lot of times where people were doubling up, tripling up on either wing, and I don't know, we look really, really poor.
Apparently that breaks a run of 29 games in a row away from home for Arsenal, where they've not beaten a top 6 side. Nice to be breaking records, isn't it? And it's the worst start to worst home start to a league season since 72-73 when we finished 18th.
That's not good, is it?
No. And the thing I don't understand is the complete contrast between the Champions League performances and the league performances, because we've been so, really good in the Champions League and then so bad in the league. Yeah. The midfield today was just like non-existent, was it? We played this diamond where you meant to have more players in possession, you meant to have more time on the ball or more movement in midfield to overcome the lack of width, but it just didn't happen. It didn't work. It looked like they didn't know what they were doing. We couldn't. There was no outlet. There was no passing. The passes we were making, the amount of times we just made a sort of 10-yard sideways pass straight to Arsenal players. Certainly in the first half, we really weren't helping ourselves at all. And it's just like whenever a team presses us, we don't know what to do.
No, I think that Steve mentioned he was a bit worried that, with the ball we'd be fine today. He was like, with the ball we'll be great going forward. We're going to look good. Going defensively, we're gonna struggle maybe, and I think it was almost the opposite. I think Fred and McTominay did their jobs, and everyone kind of did the jobs defensively. Yeah. We had a few blips, and I do think they did very well, and maybe they did double up now and again. But I think that overall we dealt okay with them. But going forward, you're right. It just didn't look like there was a plan. It didn't look like there was a way to progress the ball forward through midfield, which was really worrying, and maybe it was a different personnel. We had Leipzig in the week, and it was Van der Beek and Pogba in there.
And like I said, Martial.
And to be fair to when Van der Beek came on, he looked like he suited that system a little bit better. He was dropping in and connecting things up a bit better. I didn't like seeing Bruno go off for him. I thought, we needed a goal towards the end, and I thought we could have kept Bruno on there as well. But I don't know. It's.
Do you think Ole's under pressure now? Then do you think that there's if like you said, if this continues the way it is, do you think there's a chance that he loses his job?
I think I hate.
Because obviously there's a lot of people who don't like Ole. There's a lot of people who wanted him to go anyway. But do you think there's a chance now that a couple more games like this, or how do you see this panning out? Is what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's a strange one because it seems to me that the board has decided that we need to stick with this long-term project, and I still don't think that. The thing last season was, and we said all the way through, was that Ole needs to be backed before you can judge him. Again this summer, I don't think he's quite got the players in. So I still think it would be harsh to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now. I think that he needs to, or even this season, even how bad it gets, I still think it needs to. I don't know. I don't think it's good enough, but I don't think that the squad is quite there yet.
We need to see as well. We need to see because. We've started well in the Champions League. We started excellently, beating PSG, Leipzig, all that. The league form has been shocking, as we said, but we've played 6 games. Like it's not. What were we 17th last season after 10 games or something ridiculous? And we finished 3rd.
We're already 9 points off the top.
We're not winning the league. That's gone. We're not. Surely no one at home is.
I'm not saying that, but at this moment in time,
this season's a failure because we're not won the league.
No, but at this moment in time, the top 4 is so closely compact, and there's not much between. 9 points off the top is. I think we're probably 6 or 7 points off the top 4 at the moment in time, which already is a big gap to get to. And yes, there's Everton up there and things like that, but we've just seen
Southampton as well,
Southampton and Villa, who should drop points, but. This Arsenal team look a little bit better, and they played 3 bit. We did mention that they've not had the best start to the season, but they've also played City, Liverpool, Leicester, and then us. They've played those 4 games now. So they played 4 relatively big teams. United have played Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. We've still got City to come. We've still got Liverpool to come before. And it's going to be tough. We need to start winning home games.
Yeah,
that's to not have won one of our first 4. Is it 4 games we played at home now? 3 games at home.
Sure, yeah,
I think it's 3 or 4 games at home now. Is appalling.
You look at there as the stats as well. I mean, if you look at the stats, and that looks like quite an even game. United had more possession, but watching the game, United never really looked like scoring. United had 2 shots on target, but one of them was Matic from 20 yards out on his right foot, rolling ball that I could have saved. It was the stats don't really show the picture of the match, do they? And obviously a lot of that possession came from late on when Arsenal were already in the lead and they sat back. But United just looked so stunted and soft going forward. And what happened is something that you don't assume from Arsenal is they beat us by being scrappier than us and by being more physical and stronger and more determined and aggressive than us, which has always been the criticism of Arsenal teams in the last 15 years, is that they roll over and they're not physical enough, and if you get amongst them you can beat them. They did that to us today, and that's the worrying thing for me is their players are not as good as United's players. You look at their team, man for man, we've got a better team than theirs, with the exception of maybe you might take Aubameyang over one of our attackers. But generally speaking, our team is better than theirs. Maybe Tierney for sure, but you're clutching at straws. But they were just better set up than us, more compact than us, more disciplined than us. It looked like they were trying harder than we were. But, we said it before about Paul Pogba. He's just strolling around the pitch. And that looks great when it's coming off, but it's not coming off. And we played him at the start of the season. He wasn't good enough. We dropped him. And Ollie sort of fed him back in slowly, allowing him to look decent against Chelsea, even though we didn't get a goal, allowing him to look good against Leipzig. And then you start him again, and he's shocking. Yep. Not even including the penalty. Every single time the ball was played to him or near him, he looked like you go, oh, that was a bad pass to Pogba. First 20 minutes, oh, another bad pass to Pogba. That Partey's got it. Another bad pass. You think, actually, are these all bad passes to him, or has he just not got that first 5 yards back in his head yet? It's like he's thinking about something else. Yeah, it's like he's ball watching.
He didn't look on it at all today. He looked sluggish again, and it's a shame because after the midweek performance, we kind of all thought he was back and he would manage to get back to his best, and he just really wasn't today. That 53% possession, a lot of our possession was with Maguire and Lindelof.
Yeah. If you looked at final third possession, it'd be very different, wouldn't it?
Very different. We never really contained Arsenal. They did drop off a little bit for 10 minutes. They kind of let us have the ball a little bit and said, "Go on, let's see what you can do." And then that was it again. They managed to do that. They were organised. I think they made we mentioned it in the first half. They made very good fouls. Now, I don't think Mike Dean had the best of games. I think that he was not he just was a bit, the yellow cards.
Clutching at straws though, innit?
Yeah, I'm not saying that it would have changed the game, but I think
that's what won them the game.
I think that Arsenal got the better rub of the green in terms of that, where they made good fouls and didn't get booked for them early on. United weren't doing any of that. We didn't have any chance to do that, because it was just really, really, really poor.
Yomi Nelson with the super chat. First half, Partey shut down Bruno and forced him to play further down the pitch, which shut down the transition between defence and attack. Second half, decent McSauce shouldn't have started. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Would one substitution, playing one player ahead of McTominay have changed things? I think having some more width might have helped.
I think the shape made a massive difference today, and I think that again, this all goes back to this lack of depth we have in forward positions. Now, Cavani came on today, has had another little cameo, but he's obviously not fit enough to play 90 minutes or to at least play an hour to start. So, again, this is why we were all screaming out for a Jadon Sancho this summer. Not just because of he's a quality player, but because we are still short up top. Because, like we've had Martial suspended. Now, we've had to change system a couple of times. We've played Dan James in a few games. And you could just see today. Imagine if you'd have had another winger today, and then you could have played 3 up top. You could have gone back to the 4-2-3-1 that Freddie McTominay prefers to play in. Bruno prefers to play in. It added the width. There'd have been a bit more going forward, but instead we've gone for this diamond. Now everyone would have said, "Well, Pogba play. Where doesn't Pogba fit into that?" But we both didn't have him in our system. I think that. The 4-2-3-1 works against slightly better teams. I don't know why we didn't. I think the reason we didn't play that today, was that we didn't have the players to do that up front. I think we didn't have the strength in depth to play Greenwood through the middle and a different right winger because we don't have one. Obviously, Pellistri got signed. He's obviously not good enough for the first team. He's not getting a sniff. So again,
I wonder how good he is, by the way, because he's not even been anywhere near it, has he?
Well, I didn't watch the under-23s game, but from what I've been told, he just looked bang average in the under-23s, and if that's always a worrying sign because the 23s is not. There's a bit level, but Palestri's, was he 21, 20, 21?
I'm not sure, but yeah.
But if you're going to be pushing for the first team, you have to be like Mason Greenwood was, which was scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah. We've got another super chat. We can't sack Ola yet. I think it's fair that we need to start asking some difficult questions if these results stick for the next couple of games.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean,
completely agreed.
Again, there's always a limit in there. There's always a time when you start thinking, things have to change, but I don't think it's just yet. And the fact that the European form is so good is definitely saving him at the moment.
Of course it is, and not just that. They've been fantastic performances in the European campaign, and there's been glimpses of it. There was glimpses of it against Newcastle in the second half. I thought we looked really, really good, but again at home I don't know why we just didn't. I don't know. We didn't push on Arsenal. We didn't kind of threaten them at all. I didn't like the system. I think the only reason it looked good was that we had 4 very good players in there. The team sheet looked good because we managed to get Pogba, Bruno on the pitch, and everyone thought this is going to be it.
Yeah, Pellistri's 18, by the way.
18,
according to Fies there in the comments. It seems as though there's a lot of anti-Ole, a lot of Pogba, anti-Pogba. Of course there is. I don't think Maguire was bad today, was he?
To be honest, I think the back 4 defensively were very good today.
Right. Because Arsenal only made that one chance where he got pulled back, but Lindelof blocked it.
Yeah,
they had the penalty. Arsenal didn't have loads of chances. They had 2 shots on target all game.
I think this is
that's the thing though. We were saying that they have a bit more of a grit. They have a bit more of a grinding out results feel to Arsenal now, where we didn't seem to have that about us today. And it wasn't as though they had hundreds of shots against us. We saw from the stats that we had roughly the same amount of shots on target. But it felt as though they were the ones who were going to win the game. We're the ones who were going to struggle and lose. And it felt like that from the first 10 minutes. And that's just what happened, isn't it? Yeah. It's almost as though the feel of the game turned into the result of the game despite our best efforts.
Yeah, it was poor. Like I said, I think the back 4 themselves defensively did a lot of the good work. And I think that they gave the ball away. But I think that a lot of that was down to the lack of movement. I said Lindelof summed it up towards the end where he had to try and go round someone. And there was just no option for him. And in the last minute of the game, when you're 1-0 down, for your centre-half to not have an option to pass to, it was just madness how it was got to that stage. And I think that...
Can you stop the spamming in the comments, please?
I think it was ridiculous. It was really, really, really poor from everyone today, really.
Yeah, it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking performance. One of those performances where you go, we can't have that next week. We need to see a bounce back.
There is a quick comment there about the Matic for Fred sub.
Yeah.
I kind of get that. I kind of got that in terms of Fred was on a booking.
Yeah.
And I kind of understood that, Fred did need to maybe come off because he was one lunge away from getting a red card. And at that point it was 0-0. And I think that we could have, that wasn't the problem. The sub that confused me more was that Bruno coming off and Greenwood coming off especially at 1-0 down. I think that if you'd have gone to 4-2-3-1, if you'd have pushed Cavani up there, if you'd have took Pogba off, if you'd have maybe put Van der Beek on as well, maybe drop Bruno deeper or something like that, to maybe get someone on the ball who can fizz it a bit more into the strikers. I don't know, but they were the subs that confused me more than the Matic sub anyway.
Yeah, me too. And it was almost like Pogba was so bad. It was almost as though Ollie was making a point by keeping him on. It's almost as though he was going, right, prove me wrong. Because Pogba was shocking all game, let's be honest. Yeah, a couple of nice touches on the ball, but he was giving the ball away. He was never there for the passes. He was always someone running past him and getting in front of him. He just felt slow. The whole game he felt slow. Yeah. It's like he doesn't know what to do against a press or something. I don't know what it was.
No.
But yeah, should we call it a day? That's a rough one, that. United have lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Thank you for joining us, but absolutely shocking today. Obviously, very bad game from Man United. It looked as though we didn't really have the tactics to get out of it. It looked as though the players didn't have the thought, the quality. I don't know what it was. Maybe the motivation to get out of it. It was like a puzzle almost, wasn't it? It's like they trapped us in this puzzle, tied us up, and we went, right, get out of it. We don't know how to get out of it.
No.
United have lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Shocking performance. We'll be back, though, for the game on Wednesday, I believe it is, against Başakşehir, isn't it? Surely it's an away game. We've had too many home games in a row now.
It is away to Başakşehir.
Yeah,
yes.
away to Başakşehir on Wednesday. We'll be back with the fan cams in a little bit. Stephen Housen's review. We'll have 7 reasons why Manchester United lost to Arsenal as well, and all the build-up to the Istanbul game. Out thought today?
Yeah, pretty much.
See you in a bit.